And now, in tribute to Barry Humphries, who sadly passed away, another chance to hear his series of Barry's forgotten musical masterpieces, first broadcast in 2020, as he recalls his favourite period of recorded music, transporting you back to the first half of the 20th century. It's a culturally thrilling series of vintage music which provides entertaining and thought-provoking musical snapshots from the past. And Barry's enthusiasm for this music is so infectious.
88 to 91 FM, BBC Radio 2.
Welcome once again to Forgotten Musical Masterpieces with me, Barry Humphries, and I'm going to let you into a secret. This is undoubtedly, probably the best radio show in the history of the world. I am delighted to be back on the wireless, armed with my turntable time machine, spinning, of course, at a rate of 78 revolutions per minute, and a selection of my favourite vintage recordings with the sole aim of filling the nation's ears with delight. In this particular programme, I'm celebrating the music and artistes from the year of my birth, 1934.
With an ear full of music, an arm full of you, and a soul full of rhythm, who could ever be blue? A room full of dancers with still room for two. My heart's beating dance time when I'm dancing with you. I don't care if the sun goes down, if the skies are blue or black. I just know I'm going to town and I'm coming back. With an ear full of music, an arm full of you, a soul full of rhythm, who could ever be blue?
That song, entitled An Ear Full of Music, featured in the 1934 film Kid Millions. I was born at 6:30 a.m. on the 17th of February 1934 at a very nice hospital in Kew, a suburb of Melbourne, first child of Louisa and Eric Humphries. My parents went on to have 3 more children, but of course I consider myself an only child with siblings. As well as being the year of my birth, 1934, was the year that gave the world Flash Gordon and Donald Duck. Well, of course, a fictional superhero and a curmudgeonly cartoon duck would certainly help keep children's spirits up during the years that were to come. For 1934 was also the year that Germans voted for Hitler to become the Führer, a new, unique government position which combined both the roles of Reich Chancellor and head of state, giving him total control over Germany's affairs. Perhaps it's worth noting, too, that history shows referendums can be troublesome things. On a lighter note, 1934 was also the year that Al Bowley recorded this.
Easy come, easy go. That's the way, if love must have its day, then as it came, let it go. Oh, no remorse, no regret. We should part exactly as we met. Just easy come, easy go. never dreamt of romantic dangers. But now that it ends, let's be friends and not two strangers. Easy come, easy go. Here we are, so darling, au revoir. It's easy come, easy go.
Al Bowley was one of Britain's most popular vocalists all through the 1930s and into the 40s. He was born in Mozambique, raised in Johannesburg. Al arrived in London in 1927, where he signed 2 career-defining contracts. The first with Ray Noble in 1930, the second with Roy Fox a year later. On the 17th of April 1941, Al Bowley performed with Jimmy Massini in High Wycombe. Both were offered overnight accommodation, but Al opted to take the last train home to London. It was a fatal decision. That night, a German parachute bomb exploded outside his German street flat, just near Piccadilly. Al preferred the comfort of his bed to the air raid shelter. Al Bowley was buried in haste in a mass grave, along with the others who died that night, while Britain got on with fighting the war.
Very strange it seems for you to be here so near to me, darling. We've always met in dreams, yet here you are in reality. Here you are, a charming personality. With my eyes wide open, I'm dreaming. Can it be true? I'm holding you close to my heart. With my eyes wide open, I'm dreaming. You're with me now, sharing a vow never to part. I'm so afraid to close my eyes, afraid that I'll find this lovely thrill is just a silly illusion. With my eyes wide open, I'm dreaming. Do I deserve such a break? Pinch me to prove I'm awake. I can't believe that you're really mine.
Greta Keller, German, but one of us really during the war. Born in Vienna in 1903, and from the age of 12, she appeared on stage in Vienna and Berlin. In the late 1920s, she was selected to play the lead in the Viennese production of the show Broadway. I'd love to have seen that. And in the chorus was a young, fat girl called Marlene Dietrich. The two became close friends.
Deserve such a break. Pinch me to prove I'm awake. I can't believe that you're really mine.
Greta Keller, accompanied by the Victor Young Orchestra, with a charming song recorded in New York on the 2nd of June 1934. And the title? With My Eyes Wide Open, I'm Dreaming. This sounds painful. Greta Keller was justly famous in Britain and internationally, of course, because she had that wonderful quality of not being able to sing terribly well. She made her first recording in London in 1929 and starred on the BBC in a series of radio programmes through which she became known simply as Our Greta. In 1960, she began regular performances in New York's Waldorf Astoria Hotel that would continue for 2 years, and that's where I've heard her sing. I found myself in that city in 1962 in the first Broadway production of Lionel Bart's Oliver, and I went to the Waldorf and I heard Greta Keller sing for the last time in a nightclub. The Waldorf Hotel, of course, was a legendary establishment in Park Avenue, very imposing, very emblematic of the 1930s, the opulent days after the Great Depression. Behind the Waldorf Hotel and attached to it was the Waldorf Tower, an apartment building for the very rich. The whole company of Oliver was invited to a very lavish party. I remember on the terrace there was a man specially employed to make omelettes with caviar in them. First time I'd ever tasted this combination, which I didn't much care for at the time. During the height of revelry, the hostess told everyone to be a little quieter. She pointed upwards and she said, "Please, shh, Mr. Cole Porter is trying to get to sleep." Of course, the name Cole Porter transfixed me. I'd always loved his songs, admired him, and to think that I was keeping him awake. If only I'd kept him alive. He passed away, well, not the next morning, but not that long afterwards. And to think that I'd actually been in the room beneath his bedroom.
In olden days, a glimpse of stocking was looked on as something shocking, but now God knows anything goes. Good authors, too, who once knew better words, now only use four-letter words, writing prose. Anything goes. If driving fast cars you like, if low bars you like, if old hymns you like, if bare limbs you like, if Mae West you like, or me undressed you like, why nobody will oppose. When Rockefeller still can hoard enough money to let Max Gordon produce his show, anything goes. Just think of those shocks you got, and those knocks you got, and those blues you got from those news you got, and those pains you got, if any brains you got from those little radios. So Mrs. R, with all her trimmings, can broadcast a bed from Simmons, 'cause Franklin knows anything goes.
Mr. Cole Porter. The Cole Porter hit of 1934 was the show Anything Goes. Many of the songs from it are well-known classics, but I want to feature an artist not often heard these days, Douglas Bing.
James the butler calling. Miss Otis regrets she's unable to lunch today. Madam, Miss Otis regrets she's unable to lunch today. She is sorry to be delayed, but last evening down in Lover's Lane she strayed. Madam, Miss Otis regrets she's unable to lunch today. When she woke up and found that her dream of love was gone, Madam, she ran to the man who had led her so far astray. And from under a velvet gown, she took a gun and shot her lover down. Madam, Miss Otis regrets she's unable to lunch today. When the mob came and got her and dragged her from the jail, madam, they strung her upon the old willow across the way. And the moment before she died, she lifted up her lovely head and cried, madam, Miss Otis regrets she's unable to lunch today.
The wonderful Douglas Byng with Cole Porter's Miss Otis Regrets. And I once wrote Douglas Byng, late in his life, a fan letter. Dougie Byng, as he was known. Dear Dougie, sent me back a thank you letter and a signed photograph, which I have framed beside a signed photograph from Hildegard. Next comes a song by the highly humorous Weston Brothers, preceded by their own unique off-the-wall introduction. The Weston Brothers dressed as toffs. They always wore white tie, tails, top hats and monocles, and they entertained the posh people of the West End in the nightclubs of the 30s and early 40s. But they were, in fact, not high-born at all. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the odd, curdled vowel. Take it away, Alfred and Kenneth.
Before singing you another one of these masterly compositions of ours, I simply must tell you about that very blasé young man, very bored sort of bloke, who was staying the night in a West End hotel, and during the early hours of the morning, he went through his bedroom door, across the adjoining room, which happened to be a lady's boudoir, with a lady in it, to the bathroom on the other side, to get a glass of water. And when he'd got the glass of water, he went back again through the lady's boudoir, with a lady in it, and she saw him shut the door. He was public school, of course. Then about 10 minutes afterwards, he went through again, through the lady's boudoir, with a lady in it, to the bathroom, got another glass of water, and then he went back again through the lady's boudoir, with a lady in it, and she saw him shut the door for the second time. He was Haileybury and Balliol, yes. His father was drunken and maudlin, years before. And then about 20 minutes afterwards, he went through again, through the lady's boudoir with the lady still in it, went to the bathroom, got another glass of water. This time, as he was going back, she sort of winked at him. So he said, "Don't mess about. My chimney's on fire." Oh, very, very good. And now a song all about love, because we are just that age.
Love is just the sweetest thing, they say,
and that sweetest thing has come my way.
My sweet person came in Ascot week.
I met mine one night in Barking Creek. Too marvelous.
Mine lets me kiss her down in the dell.
Ain't it gorgeous? Mine lets me kiss her sister as well. Ain't it gorgeous?
I go out hiking with mine now and then. We come home early at 9 by Big Ben.
Mine keeps me out till 23:10. Ain't it gorgeous? Shades of the BBC.
I have found my destiny at last.
Mine has captured me and holds me fast.
All her letters keep me in suspense.
Mine keeps ours as legal evidence, so hate-making.
Mine wears her ribbons in places of need.
Ain't it gorgeous? Mine wears zip fasteners for comfort and speed. Ain't it gorgeous?
Mine's got a smile that simply becomes,
I know,
sweet as a rose and sweeter than plums.
Mine has no teeth, but wonderful gums. Ain't it gorgeous? Too divine.
Mine reads her novels by old-fashioned folks. Ethel Emdell her pleasure invokes.
Mine buys me razzle and explains all the jokes. Ain't it gorgeous? You're telling me?
Oh, ain't it gorgeous? The title of that gorgeous track by the not quite so posh Western Brothers, and recorded on the 7th of June, 1934. Well, I heard the Western Brothers very early in my life, my babyhood perhaps. It's amazing what filtered through into my bassinet in those early 1930s. You see, I like songs that tell a little story. I remember a lot of these before I remember words from my parents. They must have had the wireless on quite a lot in my babyhood, and that's why it's so much fun for me to be doing this and sharing some of these musical enthusiasms with you. You don't have to be born all that long ago to enjoy these songs, and it's so marvellous to hear them on this particular network, Radio 2.
My old flame, I can't even think of her name. But it's funny now and then how my thoughts go flashing back again to my old flame. My old flame, my new lovers all seem so tame, for I haven't met a gal so magnificent or elegant as my old flame. I've met so many who had fascinating ways, a fascinating gaze in their eyes, and some who took me way up to the skies. Ah, but their attempts at love, why, they were only imitations of my old flame. Why, it's funny, but I can't even think of her name. And I'll never be the same until I discover just what became of my old flame.
Harry Roy and his Mayfair Hotel Orchestra, when every hotel in London had its own orchestra. My Old Flame, written by Arthur Johnston and Sam Coslow. The vocalist was Bill Curry. It was recorded in London on the 13th of November 1934, and the song was featured in the film Belle of the 90s. Sir John Mills remains a household name in Britain. He's still famous today for his many fine dramatic roles in films from the 1940s onward, including In Which We Serve, Scott of the Antarctic, Hobson's Choice, and Ryan's Daughter. Less well known is his time as a chorus boy in musical theatre in London's West End. He was a guest on Dame Edna's television show, The Dame Edna Experience, and I knew him privately, and his wife Mary, as well as, of course, Hayley, his brilliant daughter. I reminded John of his early career in musical theatre, and I reminded him too of a very good song that he'd sung and recorded with Louise Brown, later to be sung memorably with Dame Edna. I'm on a Seesaw. The song was written by Desmond Carter and the great Vivian Ellis for the stage show Jill Darling.
You're so inconsistent. First you're very nice, then you're cold and distant, like a sheet of ice. I intend to say it twice. First you're very nice, and then you seem to change somehow. Smiling in the morning, charming to me then. Now without a warning, I'm the worst of men, I intend to say again. Charming to me then, but absolutely different now. I'm on a seesaw. You throw me up and you throw me down. I don't know whether I'm here or there. Those dreams that we saw, you built them up and you knocked them down. I don't know whether you even care. First I was heaven bound, then I found you turned round, and as I hit the ground, you went up in the air. I'm on a seesaw. You throw me up and you throw me down, and altogether you don't play fair.
You're the worst offender, you're the one to blame. I've been true and tender, can't you be the same? To the world I will proclaim, you're the one to blame, and not the sort of man I need. You were one I trusted, you were true as steel. Now I find you're rusted, anything but real, and this fact I won't conceal. You were true as steel, but now you're just a broken reel. I'm on a seesaw. You throw me up and you throw me down. I don't know whether I'm here or there. Those dreams that we saw, you built them up and you knocked them down. I don't know whether you even care. First I was heaven bound, then I found you turned round, and as I hit the ground, you went up in the air. I'm on a seesaw. You throw me up and you throw me down, and all together we don't.
And all together we don't. And all together we don't play fair.
It was John Mills and Louise Brown on the Seesaw, and it was accompanied by the Saville Theatre Orchestra, recorded in London on the 19th of December 1934. At 17, John Mills turned his back on the security of being a junior clerk with a corn merchant in Ipswich, and he took tap dancing lessons and landed his first job in the Harry Ruby Burt Kalmar musical The 5 O'Clock Girl in 1929. The boys' chorus was part of the Act II opening number, Up in the Clouds. And Sir John later named his autobiography after the summons of the Hippodrome call boy as the interval was ending. Up in the clouds, gentlemen, please. Roy Fox and his band, What a Difference a Day Made, written by Stanley Adams and the Mexican Maria Greve, recorded in London on the 28th of December 1934.
What a difference a day made.
24 little hours brought the sun and the flowers where there used to be rain. My yesterday was blue, dear. Today I'm part of you, dear. My lonely nights are through, dear, since you said you were mine. What a difference a day made. There's a rainbow before me. Skies above can't be stormy. Since that moment of bliss, that thrilling kiss, it's heaven when you find romance on your menu. What a difference a day made, and that difference is you.
Derby's Denny Dennis went on to achieve further success with Ambrose and was regularly voted one of Britain's top vocalists. Vocalists. Do we have any now? Would Ed Sheeran describe himself as a vocalist? Next, we turn to a song which debuted in the movie Murder at the Vanities in 1934, and the song's introduction refers to the ending of prohibition in the United States and says that people could be carefree and gay once again. The title, Cocktails for Two.
Oh, what delight to be given the right to be carefree and gay once again. No longer slinking, respectably drinking like civilized ladies and men. No longer need we miss a charming scene like this in some secluded rendezvous that overlooks the avenue, with someone sharing a delightful chat of this and that and cocktails for two, as we enjoy a cigarette to some exquisite chansonette. Two hands are sure to slyly meet beneath a serviette with cocktails for two. My head may go reeling, but my heart will be obedient, with intoxicating kisses as the principal ingredient. Most any afternoon at 5, we'll be so glad we're both alive. Then maybe fortune will complete her plan that all began with cocktails for two.
Carl Brisson was serving cocktails for two. He was a well-known welterweight boxer in his native Denmark. He made a successful transition to a debonair leading man in British films, starring in two early Alfred Hitchcock silent films, The Ring and The Manxman, followed by the early British talkie, A Song of Soho.
We'll be so glad we're both alive. Then maybe fortune will complete her plan that all began with cocktails for two. Oh, what delight to be given the right to be carefree and gay once again.
Another film star and entertainer who started out as a boxer was Bob Hope. He started appearing in films in 1934 and was praised for his comedic timing, specialising in one-liners and rapid-fire delivery of jokes, which were often self-deprecating. Perhaps more than anyone else, he helped establish the modern style of stand-up comedy. Bob Hope starred in 54 films, including 7 movies with Bing Crosby, and he hosted the Academy Award show a staggering 19 times. When you think of Bob Hope's nose, we may well suppose it's a souvenir of his pugilistic career. Oh, by the way, you're listening to Forgotten Musical Masterpieces on BBC Radio 2 with me, Barry Humphries. But we'll see to it by the end of the series that these masterpieces are never forgotten. And in this particular show, I'm celebrating the music and artistes from the year of my birth, 1934. 1934 was also the year in which Donald Duck first appeared in a cartoon entitled The Wise Little Hen. The Flying Scotsman became the first steam locomotive to be officially recorded at 100 miles an hour. And Samuel Goldwyn purchased the film rights to The Wonderful Wizard of Oz for $40,000 from the estate of L. Frank Baum.
Stars out tonight, I don't know if it's cloudy or bright, 'cause I only have eyes for you, dear. The moon may be high, but I can't see a thing in the sky, 'cause I only have eyes for you. I don't know if we're in a garden or on a crowded avenue. You are here, so am I. Maybe millions of people go by, but they all disappear from view. And I only have eyes for you.
Ben Selvin and his orchestra with the slow-moving I Only Have Eyes for You, written by Harry Warren and Al Jubin for the 1934 film Dames. The film featured dance numbers created by Busby Berkeley. Other songs in the show were When You Were a Smile on Your Mother's Lips and a Twinkle in Your Daddy's Eyes, Try and See It My Way, and this little gem entitled The Girl with the Ironing Board.
Nobody ever has whispered to me the sweet things a girl loves to hear. Nobody's arms ever twined around mine. Still I'm not lonely, for romance is near. Oh, a girl who works in a laundry has a dream lover all of her own. A lover unseen whose love she keeps clean with water and soap and a washing machine. Oh, she loves to launder his linen. Every collar and shirt is adored. And she loves all the stitches in his flannel breeches. The girl at the ironing board the neighborhood washing. Scrub and rub in a tub. Rub-a-dub-dub-dub-boop-a-doo. Every week you come to the laundry, though I never have seen you, my love. But I wash the dirt from your undershirt, and my heart is glad, though my fingers may hurt. There is something about your pajamas that enthralls me with sweet ecstasy. And because it's part of you, I'm learning to love you. So bring back your laundry to me. Bring back, bring back, bring back your laundry to me, to me. Bring back, oh, bring back your laundry to me. Scrub and rub in a tub, rub-a-dub-dub-dub-boop-a-doo. If you take a look at the clothesline, you can learn quite a lot about men. Now, what handsome brute owns this union suit? He's big and he's strong, but I'll bet that he's cute. Here's a pair of whatchamacallits, but those ruffles are too divine. Though you may be old-fashioned, you're my secret passion. So come up and see me sometime.
Joan Blondell was The Girl with the Ironing Board, a song from a very different era in the movie musical Dames. Oh, did I mention that I was born in 1934, an important global event, I'm sure you agree. Incidentally, I have some exciting, some news to convey to you. I've received notification the country of my birth has decreed that all references to the years prior to 1934 are to receive the official suffix BB, meaning before Barry. I'm touched, but frankly, a knighthood would have been nicer.
Every year when summer comes round, off to the sea I go. I don't care if I do spend a pound, I'm rather rash, I know. See me dressed like all the sports, in my blazer and a pair of shorts, with me little stick of Blackpool rock. Along the promenade I stroll. It may be sticky, but I never complain. It's nice to have a nibble at it now and again. Every day, wherever I stray, the kids all round me flock. One afternoon, the band conductor up on the stand somehow lost his baton, it flew out of his hand. So I jumped in his place and then conducted the band with me little stick of Blackpool rock.
The archetypal cheeky chappy George Formby with one of the songs that caused particular problems with the censors. With my little stick of Blackpool rock. George Formby faced an uphill battle to get in front of the camera, who was initially dismissed as too stupid to play the bad guy, too ugly to play the hero by British film executives in the early 1930s. He eventually made his first film in 1934 on a shoestring budget of £3,000. That was the budget for the whole film. It was filmed in a one-room studio above a commercial garage in Albany Street, London. And every time the director wanted to shoot a scene, he had to call down to the workers in the garage to down tools just for a few minutes. The title of the film was Boots, Boots, and it had its premiere in Burslem, Stoke-on-Trent. Despite the crude photography and minuscule budget, it became an enormous hit. The rest, as they say, is history. This program is largely about 1934, but I'd like to take a few moments to celebrate something which is 4 years younger than me, but which is somewhat under threat: the Dudley Hippodrome. Built in 1938, the building is one of the finest examples of the most modern musical theatres ever to have been built. Yet time is not on our side. Although it survived Hitler's bombs, it may not survive the demon of progress. I do hope that the Dudley Hippodrome will be saved. I mentioned that the future looks bleak for Dudley's extraordinary Hippodrome. I have better news regarding Morecambe's Winter Gardens, which are undergoing a rejuvenation. And with Morecambe announced as the home of Eden Project North, it's a very exciting time for that particular English seaside resort. How wonderful. True progress. At an early date, I formed a great love of the music of George Gershwin. 2 days after I was born, in February 1934, George Gershwin presented a radio program in America sponsored by a laxative company.
Now I'd like to tell you the inside story of the tune we're using as a radio signature. It's called The Man I Love, and you may have recognized it at the opening of the program. This tune was written 10 years ago, and about this time we did a musical comedy, Lady Be Good, featuring those delightful performers, Fred and Adele Astaire. Imagine my discomfort when the tune received such a lukewarm reception in Lady Be Good that we felt obliged to take it from the play. But my spirits rose shortly after this when Lady Mountbatten asked me for a copy of the song to take back to England. Soon, Lady Mountbatten's favorite dance band, the Berkeley Square Orchestra, was playing The Man I Love. It wasn't long before all the dance bands in London had taken up The Man I Love. Strangely enough, I now had a London song hit on my hands without being able to sell a single copy. But I now felt The Man I Love was worthy of a place in any score I might write, so in 1927, when we brought out the first version of the musical comedy Strike Up the Band, this melody was again introduced. And again the melody met with scant success. Apparently, The Man I Love just lacked that thing so far as the theater presentation was concerned. However, its out of the theater popularity continued to grow, and after considerable success in London and Paris, The Man I Love was sung in New York by an artist who has been almost directly responsible for its American success. I refer to that remarkable personality, Helen Morgan. So now I am going to ask Mr. Katzman and the orchestra to play this number for you, and if nobody minds, I shall attempt the piano part myself.
George Gershwin's classic, The Man I Love. It was very interesting to hear Gershwin speak about the influence the Mountbattens had on his music becoming popular in Britain. Not long ago, I saw advertised a second-hand copy of the George Gershwin songbook published in the 30s. I think it was published actually in 1934. This songbook was quite expensive, but they said that it was cheaper because someone had scribbled on the fly leaf of the book. So I bought it unseen, and when I got the book, I saw indeed that someone had scribbled on the fly leaf and done a crude self-portrait. It was Gershwin himself. So I have a unique copy of the songbook of one of the great composers of the 20th century. Sir Edward Elgar died in 1934. And in this recording, he conducts the BBC Symphony Orchestra at Abbey Road Studio Number 1. That's why that crowd is outside in the street every day. They're thinking of Elgar, aren't they? The title of this piece is Elegy for String Orchestra, a recording which has only recently come to light. Sir Edward Elgar in Abbey Road on the 11th of April 1933, conducting the BBC Symphony Orchestra a year before he died. Sadly, we're almost at the end of the show. There's just time to remind you that this is a Strauss House production for BBC Radio 2. And the producer is my friend, Claire Wordsworth. Until next time, it's goodbye from me, Barry Humphries, and thank you for having me at your place.
It's all forgotten now. We're happy once again. Our troubles gone beyond recall. And making up is best of all. We're still in